When I argue with reality, I lose 100% of the time. That's true. So accepting what is key, isn't it? And as I think about the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, I think about expectations and how we perceive the future based on our present conditioning. And society tells us we should have certain ideals about our reality. We watch the Hallmark movies, or we watch any Christmas movie or any Thanksgiving movie, and it's got kind of a picture, right? You've got this kind of idea that you set forth in your mind over the years of your upbringing, your conditioning, in your family, in your culture, and so on. So, as I think about the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, it's one of my favorite holidays because it's about Thanksgiving, it's about giving thanks. And I think about expectations and how we project expectations onto our family members and how we cause ourselves disappointment because our expectations or the ideals that we set for us are not met, and also about the shoulds, right? This is how it should be. So I love the line, stop shoulding on yourself. And this is so good because we often have these representations about how things should be. So I'm going to give you a story. I love this story. One Thanksgiving, my wife and I were invited to a Thanksgiving dinner across the street from where we lived. And we said, sure, we will do it. And so in our minds, we had a certain kind of concept about how things would go. So we get there. And the first thing we notice is that the television show, The Price is Right, is blaring on the television. Everybody's kind of like into the television. And then we get seated at the table, and to my wife's horror, the family was serving Thanksgiving dinner on paper plates. So this didn't align well with our expectations about how we think Thanksgiving should be. Then the next thing that kind of raised the flag was that she served us instant mashed potatoes. So I could just hear my wife's mind in the background going, oh my God, right? So her ideal, her concept of what Thanksgiving should be was shattered. And then finally, at the end of the meal, they took the paper plate and put it on the ground and let the dog clean up the paper plate. And so our ideals of Thanksgiving, of course, is with the warmth of the family, and you're dressed nicely and everybody's focused on each other, and you have nice conversation, and you have really high quality food, and you enjoy each other's company, you give thanks, you say a grace, and so on. So, but the thing was that this Thanksgiving dinner didn't occur like that, right? So we had to sit with it, and we had to be with it, however it was. And we stopped shooting on ourselves. This is how it should be. And we tried to enjoy the present moment. When you argue with reality, you lose 100% of the time. So we came home and chatted amongst ourselves, and we laughed at the situation. We didn't take it too seriously. We felt a little disappointment because the ideal that we had in our mind didn't meet up to our expectations. So what are expectations anyway? Expectations are mentations, mental ideation or belief structures that we've set up in our mind that we repeat over and over and over again, and that society tells us this is how it should be, this is how our relationship should be, this is how holidays should be, this is how life should be. And we buy into this story and we get locked into it, and when it doesn't meet our expectations, we suffer. In meditation in Buddhism, we try to look closely at our mentations and our mental constructs to see what realities are there and how we can reduce suffering. Because a lot of times, we cause ourselves more suffering than need be. And sometimes, I think the mind is so sharp, it's so smart. We are so smart, we cause us more problems than need be. we give ourselves more suffering than need be. And I kind of liken it to, kind of like artificial intelligence these days. They use large language models to train the chatbot, the machine. So they feed it all this information, right? Gobble, gobble, gobble. I imagine this big monster, and this big monster is gobbling up all this information. And then you ask it a question and it spits out a coherent language-oriented model based on our ability to cognize it and interpret it in a coherent linear fashion, a rational fashion. Yet we do that with ourselves too, by the way we gobble up information online or on the news, and we process this whole thing and we become addicted to this information overload, and we take it in, we gobble it all up, and the mind becomes its own monster. It's turning into a monster, and it makes more complexities for us. So with respect to expectations, there's a beautiful algorithm, there's a formula that you can use for happiness. It's simple. Happiness equals reality minus expectations. So expectations minus reality equals happiness. So the fewer expectations you have, the happier you'll be. So that's basically the prescription for the holidays. When you get to the Thanksgiving table and your uncle starts talking about politics, or the food doesn't meet your expectations, or the china doesn't meet your expectations, or the reality in the room doesn't meet your expectations, you can allow and surrender to it and be with it and let it go, however it is. When you argue with your reality, you lose 100% of the time. So letting things be just as they are, letting your mind be just as it is, letting your neighbors be just as it is, forgiveness, right? It's really forgiveness about yourself and others. So happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving holiday. So let's get into a little meditation, okay, today, together in our minds, in our emotions, in our bodies, and settle down a little bit, and just to see what's going on, just to look. Just as a tangent, I was thinking about the sun, and I was thinking about purpose. And I was thinking, what's the purpose of the sun? The sun is to light up the room, light up the world, and also give warmth, bring energy toward our lives, makes everything grow. And it's a beautiful purpose. And that's what my purpose is here on earth as well. I was reflecting on it the other day, is that my purpose is to shed light, to shed my inner light, and also to provide warmth, to just be. The sun doesn't have some kind of ideal or some purpose. It does it naturally. It doesn't have this itinerary. And I love that metaphor really because of Ramana Maharshi's admonition. The purpose of your life is to live your life. Live your life. That's it. Be like the sun, just bring forth light and bring warmth. So when you analyze what spirit is and you look inside your heart and you see this spirit, this soul, this consciousness that's there, and that it is light. In the Bible, the verse in Matthew, talked about you are the light of the world. So a better question is what's prohibiting, what's limiting the light that's in your heart if you assume that you are spirit and you are conscious and you are loving, and inside that light, inside the heart light that's shed throughout the world from your being, you can reduce any wounds, any limitations by just simply being with yourself and looking closely under the hood to see what prevents that light from shining. If you've enjoyed this talk, why not hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more on meditation, mindfulness, and personal growth. Have a great day.